So finding slopes of horizontal and vertical lines. The fallback plan to finding slope is to use the formula y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. The reason the y's are in the numerator is because it's rise over run. So if you rise, you're going up and down. So that's your y-axis. Over run, and your run, that's like your x-axis. Okay, so we're going to subtract the y's over the subtracting the x's. I am going to show you a little shortcut on these ones at the end, but let's go ahead and start off with, if I use the formula and my coordinates are -3, 1, and -3, 4, if I subtract the y's, that's going to be 1 minus 4. Then I'm going to subtract the x's. Now, since I started with 1 and then subtracted off 4, I'm going to have to start with this one here. So then I'm going to have -3 minus a -3. It would be just fine if you wanted to do 4 minus 1, but then you'd have to have this -3 minus this -3. Simplifying there, 1 minus 4 is -3. And -3 minus a -3 is -3 plus 3. So -3 plus 3 is 0. Now some of you know immediately whether -3 divided by 0 is 0 or undefined. In case you're struggling, just have a little trick here. N over 0. So no versus okay. It's just a silly trick to remember which one's which. If the 0 is in the denominator, it looks like the word no. If the 0 is in the numerator, then that looks more like okay. And okay meaning I have a number for an answer. No is no, this is not working. You get an error message. Yeah, no solution, undefined. Okay, so if you're dividing by 0, you can't divide by 0, that's undefined. But if 0's in the numerator, 0 divided by anything is 0. So when we went to simplify this and I got -3 over 0, this one looks more like the word no, no. So this one does not have a numerical answer. This is undefined. You can also, if you have a calculator in your hand, you read something from left to right and work your way down. So this says -3 divided by 0. And so if you type in -3 divided by 0, it's going to give you an error message. Mathematically, the reason that it is undefined is if this is my division, let's just pretend that the bottom is a 1 for a second. I'd say, how many 1s does it take to make the 3 on top? And I'd get an answer. But when you have a 0, that says how many 0s does it take to get a -3? No matter how many 0s I give you, you're not going to have anything. It's impossible, which is why it's undefined. Okay, so now this one here, subtracting the y's over subtracting the x's. So I'm going to have -4 minus a -4. Just going from left to right, y minus y. And then x minus x, 2 minus a -3. If you want to say -4 minus 4 over -3 minus 2, that's also fine. All right, so -4 minus a -4 is -4 plus 4, which is 0. And then minus minus is plus, so 2 plus 3 is 5. And I have 0 over 5. So when the 0 is in the numerator, that looks more like okay. Okay meaning we have a numerical answer, and so it ends up equaling 0. You could also say 0 divided by 5, and you'll get 0. And then what division really means is how many 5s does it take to make a 0? None, 0. A shortcut that you can use if you want to avoid this formula in this particular case, if you happen to notice that both of the x coordinates are the same, then you could make a quick sketch and know the slope. So if I plot this point back 3 up 1, and I plot this point back 3 up 4, back 3 up 1, back 3 up 4. Notice when I connect those dots, the line is a vertical line. And so the slope of a vertical line is undefined, and I never had to use the formula. Similarly, over here, if you happen to notice that the y coordinates are exactly the same, in this case, both -4, instead of using the formula, I might just make a sketch. So I go right 2 down 4 and left 3 down 4. So if I go right 2 down 4 and left 3 down 4 and connect them, notice my line is straight across, and lines that are straight across, the slope is 0. If you're having a hard time remembering that this is 0 and this is undefined, maybe you're a skier. If you're skiing on this is a slope of 0. Cross-country skiing maybe. It's getting harder, harder, harder. Oh, we're to double diamonds. Terrifying. That's not a ski hill. That's a cliff. You don't want to ski down that. And if you do, you will be undefined.
Hospitalized.
Definitely hospitalized. Okay.